moved from the tournament, although they will have one more game to play tomorrow. They don't have a chance of making it through to the playoffs. We've got another match coming up now, which has very big significance for both teams. VGj.Thunder needing the win to make sure they have a chance at playing in the playoffs, and also Mineski trying to fit into the top 2 positions in their group as well. Our panel has changed up a little bit. We welcome back Lacoste and Cap alongside Jack, who's back with us again. How you doing, boys?
Good, good.
Yeah?
I just watched.
Are you busy
Swindle
destroying
eat shit? So that was really enjoyable for me.
Was it Swindle was trying to destroy the set again?
Yeah, it
That's
was.
the second time today, Kyle. What's going on? I'm glad he's better in game than he's walking around a set. That's for sure.
certainly.
How's things, Lacoste? You all right?
I'm good, yeah.
Yeah?
I took a little break after the casting. Now I'm good to watch some good dotes.
Enjoyed
Some good dotes. I like it.
Wait, were you not watching some good dotes before?
I was
Lacoste?
watching at 2 screens.
Okay.
What are you trying to say, Lacoste? Was one of them not to your
Jack, shut up,
expectations?
Jack.
Well, I'm hoping we get some good dotes as well, because Mineski VGj.Thunder, in theory, Cap, should be quite fun.
Oh yeah, I think that I think the final 2 series has the possibility of being really interesting matches. Of course, you never know in a best of 1. This was like a full series. We could say like, oh, this would may be an even series. Maybe like one game goes one-sided, but a team would make the adjustment here. Just a best of 1, no mistakes to be afforded for either team.
Are you surprised Mineski are 4-1 right now?
No, not terribly. I think that Mineski is quite the strong team. I think they have a slight advantage with the Pangolier coming into their favor. But other than that, no, I think they're just pretty strong. We'll see how they fare when it comes to full series. But
yeah. Can be sometimes a little bit different. We saw that before in previous matches. I think the Polish boys before went all the way to the top of the group earlier on in the DPC after the best of 1s, and then floundered when it came to best of 3s. Jack, VGj.Thunder, right? High expectations, obviously, now that they've made 2 finals during the DPC. How are Chinese fans reacting to their poor start to this tournament?
I think it's kind of an extension of the same issues that people feel in the team as well. I think the drafting has been pointed to specifically as an issue. They feel that either the team isn't as prepared or isn't as resilient in these drafts, especially against the good Western teams that they've been playing up against. Right now, at least, like the pressure is off them as far as not being eliminated. I think that's been done already in Group B, so they don't have to worry about that. I think they might still have some weird outside chance of playing themselves into the top 2. Not sure, but yeah, they have some things that they need to fix. And they've been trying some new heroes and some different. Like we saw the Lesh Rack and stuff earlier that they hadn't run so much before. So at least trying to evolve and adapt a little bit.
They're 2 and 3, correct?
2 and 3
after their
right now.
loss to.
So they can't not make it through. They can make it through, but they want to make the top 2 rather than the bottom 4. They have to win this one if they want any chance of playing a remote chance of fitting into that top 2. It's still slim because they've got to rely on other people, but they could still get there if they win this particular match. Lacoste, how would it be for you if you're in a team and the drafter is your coach and he says, shut the hell up, Lacoste, you're going to play what I pick you?
I don't mind that. I never did. No, I always played whatever the team needed and played the role.
But usually you'd be given an input, wouldn't you? You'd be saying, well, we could play this, but I'm really good with this, and this could really fit. This guy, ROTK, isn't there? He's going, no, you're playing this.
There are a couple of coaches and captains that like to pick comfortable heroes for their players instead of just going for some strategy that they see it's gonna work. And also the big thing about this one is we have had a new patch during this tournament, so it's more who's gonna adjust more, who can be prepared in the least time. That's the thing.
Okay, well, we're into draft for this particular game.
I think that's a Well, I was going to say that's an interesting point because what the coach can do, and especially in RTK's case, is take a lot of pressure off you as well as players. It's just hard to. It's really hard to be a captain, right? Like you listen to criticism and pressure not just from outside but within the team.
Sure.
People can very easily hindsight your picks after the game, and being the coach and kind of having that authority can take some of that pressure off of your players. So.
Yeah, you can also see on the screen 71 is the one who's doing the draft.
10 seconds remaining.
Right.
And I think it's also helpful to be able to unify the vision that the team wants to be able to employ. As a captain, you're going to listen to each one of your players and their ideas about strategy, and you're going to try and incorporate that all into one vision rather than one person on the team having the vision and trying to get everybody, kind of on board with that. Obviously,
I guess the Western way of doing it is you have the coach there. They're kind of giving you an input, but they're giving input and advice. They're not making the final decision. That's the difference, isn't it?
I mean, I think it really comes down to the fact that the cultures are very different. And the Chinese, their whole entire esports scene is very top-down from that focus. The organizations have a lot of power. And in turn, they transfer that power onto the coaches that they hire. And then, and so I think it gives an opportunity for coaches like 71 here, who's a Chinese coach, had that opportunity, had that power, other people saw it, and then, Mineski, even though they weren't a part of that they're not a part of a Chinese organization or anything like that, still recognize the strength that could come from that.
I mean, I think, Jack, I remember you saying to me before that one of the reasons ROTK can do what he does is because he's held in great reverence by the players, almost like a messiah, really, that don't want to almost question what he says.
Yeah, his status is very high, pretty much unassailable. I think for him and Siler are kind of peers in that sense on this team, maybe DDC to some extent, and so it's going to be very hard to kind of question him from that role. And then in addition to the point you just made, I know for a fact that several Chinese coaches are paid more than their players as well, which I do not believe is the case in the Western scene.
Jesus.
Cap suddenly decides on a coaching role?
I mean,
in China.
Yeah.
time to teach me, Jack. Let's go. I'm not sure how I like that. I mean, I guess it's okay in my head as long as the coach doesn't get equal amount of tournament winnings as well. Like I personally don't like. I personally do not see a system where the coach should be able to make more than the players.
The price can be the same or higher.
If he's coaching 5 players and he's doing the draft and also he's the psychological side of the team, why not?
Maybe if it's like a growing team, like a young team that he's going to have to train or something like that. But
I mean, Cap, look at it this way. Take 10% of any TI winnings, win a TI, and you can retire.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I've been telling every single team that goes to a TI. Please hire me. I'll give up on casting. Just give me some of that sweet, sweet TI winnings.
5 seconds remaining.
And you can tell the good teams, you have a chance to win TI. I don't have to get in the way of anything. Just cut me in, right?
And after you win a TI, then you get the coach and get more money.
Yeah,
than
exactly.
the players.
People are like, oh, man, Cap must have really added something to that team, and then it just prolongs this aura. I call it the Blitz thing. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke. That absolutely is not true. There are far too many jokes about that. That is not true.
Okay. That's on Reddit already. Into pick number 3 for Mineski. It's all been relatively straightforward. I know that Winter really likes this Venge Nature's Prophet combination before. What do you make of this?
10 seconds.
What did they play? Was it the Support Venge or Prophet 5/4?
They played a decent amount of Core Venge on Mushi in the past. I'm not sure if they will this game, but again, you have the Nature's Prophet for laning up against the Omni Knight, a hero that can really just kind of bully him out of lane or take his tower if he's alone by himself. That's what the Nature's Prophet just excels at no matter what the lane is.
In the last 3 months, they've not ran the Venge as anything other than a core.
10 seconds.
Yeah, they had this... But no, they had that one game where they picked it up early, and then they had to swerve.
With the Chen, right?
Okay.
With the Chen, together with the Chen.
Because the Chen pickup. I was a little bit surprised. I was thinking maybe they were going to go for their classic Puck Marana here, just because the mid lane is very clearly going to be threatened by this Tusk plus whatever mid is going to be grabbed by VGj.Thunder. Instead, they go for the very stable Dragon Knight.
Since Shadowfiend is out and the DP is out against the Tusk, they should just take a hero that is mobile, either Puck or Queen of Pain, that's not really affected by shards. Also, Mineski's timing, looking around 25-30 minute mark to try to finish the game. Not too much anti-push coming out on the side of VGj.Thunder. If they just get the good laning stage on side of Mineski, they can easily just snowball, even though the other team has a Tusk. So we're going to have a snowball fight.
That was deep. This could be...
I miss paddling with
Did you say
Lacoste.
You meant lame?
Between Lacoste and Jack over here, you can only beat the teams that you face. There's some real sage advice being given on this.
Hey,
panel.
he's not wrong, Cap.
It's
not, you can call him out for being false there.
No, I didn't say it was
facts.
false.
This might be a Storm game for Thunder, actually. Just thinking about it, there's not too much instant disable. It's good against Nature's Prophet. They can kind of slow down this death ball with that hero if you have a decent start.
I think
I see what you did there. Storm, Thunder, huh?
Ball, lightning, thunder. My problem, I guess, with the the Storm Spirit would be the fact that you already have some really big sustain cores in both the Dragonite and the Abaddon. And we've seen over the last month or two how Storm Spirits, VGj.Thunder, for example, was trying to pick these heroes, and they just couldn't kill anything. And it becomes, like, just because their lack of disables doesn't mean it makes it a good Storm Spirit game. And I think those two cores really inhibit the opportunity for Storm to be able to do a whole lot.
Yeah, especially against the Abaddon, Storm Spirit doesn't feel that good. And you have one tanky core. It's cool against the Nature's Prophet if he decides to split push, but if you group up as 5, which Mineski does, Storm Spirit doesn't feel that strong. Also, picking Timbersaw into Dragonite, and if it's a core Venge, means that you have 2 natural Silver Edge carriers.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. The Timbersaw is nice otherwise, though, like because it's not going to be pressured by this Furion, whether it's support or core. I personally am leaning towards the fact that these are your 2 supports with the Furion and Vengeful Spirit, and they're still going to pick up a core last, but...
Yeah, that's the thing about the best heroes right now are those who can be played at 2/3 lanes.
Yeah.
Dire team ban.
And I'm kind of feeling like you need that harder carry on either side of the table right now. VGj.Thunder don't have any real clear way to be able to end this game, even if the Timbersaw does go off.
Can Mineski pull off, let's say, a Thinker? They still have a last pick.
5 seconds remaining.
And he does deal with the Furion split push really well. I like that concept, yeah.
No, I meant for Mineski.
For Mineski?
Mm-hmm.
Feel like
just
you might get
if
pressured
they-
too early.
If it's a core
Yeah, maybe.
Dragonite, and then just have a Thinker on mid. They have no vision heroes whatsoever besides Sigil.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll just wait and see what they pick and then decide to go for it.
Dire team pick.
I was going to suggest the Pugna for Mineski because the matchup against the Timbersaw is so nice. I think it's really good to be able to have some of those big, strong magic damage dealers against this hero. And then it would create this, like, really good sustain where the Dragonite in the front lines would be so hard to be able to deal with because he just kind of forces everything on him. The Abaddon's going to be there to shield out, probably have a Radiance or
5
something.
seconds remaining.
And then you've got this Pugna in the back lines.
Maybe they lack that burst damage on Mineski, so I'll go back with the Queen of Pain, maybe. That's Queen of Pain scales well, and again, Tusk really can't focus on that lane. They still might put Dragonite mid and get the safe lane carry, or just pick a position, whatever they want. Everything's still open for Mineski.
10 seconds remaining.
I would be okay with maybe some sort
5
of
seconds
Luna
remaining.
pickup or something. Maybe that's a little bit risky.
There's 71, of course, going back to...
Do you want
DK
TA,
days.
Kyle? Is that what you want? That sounds terrible. Oh, OD. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good here. But it's banned a long time ago. Great job, Kyle.
God, I've baited you the whole way.
That's
So-
Sure, we'll call that
X-Call
bait.
strat
Right.
right there.
Does anyone have a fishing rod?
I still feel like they might go for support here instead of another core.
I'm also fine with them pulling back their Mirana. We're going to find out in
Moon
5
Mirana.
seconds.
Moon Mirana. I like it a lot.
Life Stealer, huh?
You may now
Not even
select your
close.
heroes.
Life Stealer versus Gyro, but it's going into an Omni Knight. Don't have the greatest lockdown for this Timbersaw.
Yeah, I thought they're gonna pick more control for the last pick on side of Mineski. This just doesn't seem right.
At least some
the
more
life
source
stealer.
of like magic damage at least, or something like that.
Okay, they are going to use that as Avenge support, of course. Okay. Time to go down the line, and we'll start with Jack.
I feel Mineski's draft is a little clunky, especially with the last pick Lifestealer. They do have a lot of aggression, but I think that they eventually lose team fights to Thunder. So I'm going to go with Thunder on this.
All I'm hearing out of your mouth right now, Jack, is bias, bias, bias.
At least
I'm surprised,
at least
actually.
I got a
Production were
chance to
bit
make
slow.
a pick this time,
I know
right?
production were pretty slow by putting that up this time.
But I will agree with you. I'm going to go with VGj.Thunder.
Okay.
I'll have to agree as well. I thought you were going
Oh,
to
God.
call me out first ball. So, I mean, Nikes, if it was a different hero, I would go with Mineski. But this Nikes just doesn't feel right in this lineup.
Okay, so VGj.Thunder for all three of you. Interesting. That's worked so far. No, it's worked so far,
It
guys.
has?
It has. LGD,
All
you
right.
both went for 3 of them. That worked.
Yeah, but those are super one-sided games.
Who knows? The prediction game is just so unpredictable, isn't it? I don't like actually being able to give predictions myself, so I don't envy these guys. They've got a tough job here. VGj.Thunder have the word on the panel. Do they have the word of our commentary team? Let's head back to Toby, One, and Kyle.
Mineski all the way, SCA lives forever. I don't know what these fools are on about. Jack's bias has become massively contagious on that panel. It's like a disease you have at a LAN event. You're just going to catch it. Thanks,
Well,
Jack.
I spent a lot of time on that panel too, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with VGj.
Ah, see, he's already passed it over. Like, this is, where's the belief in Mineski? Where's the belief? Just because they didn't pick Pangolier this time, like.
It's just they just don't have enough for the Timber Saw. Like the Omni Knight, I just look at VGj's lineup. I just think no one's gonna die, and at a point, Timber Saw is just gonna kill everybody. I think Mineski needs like an incredible laning phase to win this game. They need like 4 or 5K advantage by 10 minutes.
Well, let's see if they can achieve that. VGj are already looking for a bit of a gank. They've got Moon in the perfect position to break the smoke. Ice gets the vision, and then run a little bit further away. Also, just while we have some moments, because VGj now won't get a kill, just to express my disgust for the Dragon Knight set. Not saying it looks bad, but why is he looking more like Phantom Assassin than he's looking like a Dragon Knight? Whatever happened to color palettes in Dota? Why is he blue and not red?
I have no idea.
I
But,
beg the question.
I actually like the Mineski team. I think Lifestealer, DK, and Abaddon could all be like bosses in next Rammus. I feel like I'm 15 again playing World of Warcraft, actually.
Okay.
Look at him.
Unfortunately, we couldn't have taken a lot of that stuff over from World of Warcraft. There's these things called lawsuits. The Blizzard would be very happy to give Valve if they attempted to do such a thing.
R.I.P. Windrunner.
Just RIP all the old names as well. Back when Scythe was called Gwinsu, that was changed for different reasons.
Oh, that was really a mouthful. I still don't know if I pronounced it properly.
Oh, Gwinsu.
I definitely didn't for the first like 5 years I played Dota.
Yeah, Gwinsu, you had Lothar.
Mm-hmm.
You still have Yule Scepter. That's only because he works for Valve. Anyway, back to our lanes, back to our game of Dota as we stop talking about the history of the world. So mid lane, Freeze versus Moon. It's just DK versus Timbersaw. This should be a very fun lane for a Timber. As long as he can keep those reactive armor charges up. Top lane, Jabs being a nuisance as the Nature's Prophet. Just trying to ensure that Ice is a good lane. So they have managed to match up the Abaddon versus the Omni Knight with DDC supporting on the Witch Doctor. And that leaves bottom lane, the off lane Gyrocopter working with Tuskar against Mushi's Lifesteal on safe lane and support Vengeful Spirit, not core Vengeful Spirit for this game in the hands of Ninja Boogie.
Yeah. The lanes are going to be pretty much an even trade, I think. The mid one is the one to watch because once Timber gets 6, I think it's a... He threatens the DK a lot, but...
They did actually change that up though, right? Because now Chakram, I think it costs more for the initial throw or the earlier
costs
throw.
less initially. They just buffed
But it burns
pretty
more?
much. No, it
There was some kind of counterbalance to it.
No, they just reduced the mana cost on it as both the throw and the mana cost per second.
Okay.
It's a slight buff. I think Timber needed. Oh, the courier. Dead.
I said Jabs being a nuisance up on top, but yeah, that works.
Yeah.
See the courier go in towards mid. Don't even need an aggressive observer ward to watch it.
No, Freeze, it just, he sent it back, like, and I'm sure the DK is just communicating, like, hey, can kill the courier. And you got to be more disciplined about that when there's a fear in the game.
Sylar, bottom lane, Snowball from Faye, just trying to create some space.
There's a huge creep wave on the way.
Yeah, that is pretty decent if they can just... Oh, they'll be able to safely farm it. It's not like Mushi's going to really contest him.
And Boogie canceled the last 3 seconds of the salve with the W. It was well placed.
still have to keep in mind the influence of jabs. Not just about courier sniping either. It's the fact that he's able to rotate in towards the lanes, gives them a little bit more pressure if there's diving that wants to happen. Probably not against mid. He won't help out mid at all. In fact, he'll probably make it worse by attacking into the reactive armor. But on bottom lane, it could really just enable Mushi to try and find that kill over on Sylar. Lock him in. Mushi's got easy ways to cut through having that Quelling Blade in his inventory. So if they do sprout him up, they can control Sylar. Always hold a tango, Sylar.
Yeah, actually, I think you just buy the Quelling Blade in this game as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Even as a gyrocopter?
You just, Sprout's worth it. You don't want to ever be in a situation where you need a tree or you'll be in trouble, and you'd rather have a Quelling Blade than a tree to be always kept in your inventory.
Harassment to potentially go the way of Yang. He's pulled the Radiant Creep Wave over. Ice can always just shield and run at him. And Jabs can always just TP out. Once the Paralyzing Cask won't bounce back down again, there is no real other way to control Jabs apart from purification damage. He does a decent amount back himself with the tree and harass.
Yeah. You can see why this hero is picked so much as like this 4 or 5 support nowadays, though. You're just so strong in lane, you threaten the courier, and the ultimate after being changed recently, like a 60-second cooldown, or sorry, a 70-second cooldown on a ulti that hits everything on the map is unbelievable. It also does more damage than Zeus ult after like the 4th or 5th bounce.
Yeah, that magical burst damage will work against heroes like the Timbersaw really well. Moon's actually just trying to contain himself in this lane. Like, his harassment on Freeze means nothing. Freeze just walks up to the wave, attacks the hero, gets more Sylar bottom lane. Actually, he's in trouble. Being Wave of Terror up, Jabs also TP rotation over. And it's Mushi who gets the first blood.
Mineski's on their way to that sort of that advantage I thought they needed, to win this game. The courier helps, that helps a lot as well, and they also give the first blood to the best hero possible, the Lifestealer.
We just got the games of musical taunts. Just that profit. It's so hip hop. It's so. I also say it's a bling. It's a bling taunt. Fade's coming in towards the mid. They want to harass in towards Moon. They've got more support in the form of DDC. Paralyzing Cask not being thrown out just yet. Instead, they sharp block in Moon. He used his 1 charges. Now freezing a little bit too deep. Ninja Boogie brings the Wave of Terror, so they still freeze with plus 15 armor on this Timbersaw, thanks to the 15 charges of reactive.
The thing is, top lane has gone so poorly. Like, Ice is one of the best offlaners in the game, in my opinion. And when you give him a huge lead like this, if you look at his CS, he's 28 and 15, and Gyro can't lane here.
Sylar just came up here to get some relief from the bottom lane, but Jabs keeps the pressure on him. So shield will pop, Fade. This really feels like he's throwing his life away. At least he can get the shard block out, but the Treant from Jabs, it gets the perfect mark. He starts taunting him before he even gets the kill. It was good micro. Gotta give him that.
Yep. Mineski's crushing right now. The main issue is just, can they get enough tempo before this Timbersaw really comes online and starts dealing with the really just you crush the DK Abaddon really hard if you get farmed enough.
Is there like specific items that they can go for to go against the Timbersaw? Like, I don't know if you really want to get like a Silver Edge early on a Nature's Prophet. Like, he's gone Medallion. Is it enough to get things like Solar Crest against the Timber?
Yeah, they have enough stuns to deal with him. It's the Lifestealer. Ooh.
He really came down to contest Mushi for half a second. Luckily for him, Ninja Boogie was moving away for the other bounty rune.
Indeed, he might have actually just died there if he caught a stun.
Yeah. So he only caught the Wave of Terror.
Yeah, like, look at the CS from Ice though. 33 and 15 right now. He'll have Helm of the Dominator really quick, and that the timing to kill this Timber is like you really just play away from him and you kill towers, and then once you have enough items, like Lifestealer's probably gonna get like the Armlet, maybe Rush of Radiance. It's Mushi, he's gonna go Radiance, and then the maybe not. Maybe not.
Hopefully it's actually fighting Mushi. I really hope it is just all-out brawl, because you're not going to get Radiance on the Abaddon. You can play it very much the way KP plays it for newbie, where it's just like Crimson Pipe, and good luck for anyone to do damage through this.
Yeah, I'm glad Mushi's not going Radiance, though, because they can't afford to wait for that timing. They need to keep the tempo high and continue to...
Mushi now buys Midas.
Oh, my God. No, he switched it back. He switched it back.
It's on Armlet. It's on Armlet.
He's thinking about it, though.
Just toss it around. Wait, can I get a Lincoln's and a Manta into into this Lifestealer? We go for real Mushi builds.
Yeah.
Top lane rotation is going to come underneath the Dire Observer ward, so Jabs, he's underneath that Dire Obs, and DDC starts with the stun. Support is not near enough by Ice has tried to shield and protect him. Jabs needs to start that TP right now. Ninjabuki's only now just arrived. So they turn their attention over towards DDC. So revenge for the death of their support prophet. And what a surprise, Ice as a Nabadan level 6 diving a tower. And Sylar is leaving it alone. He's well out of there.
If he had his HOD right now, they'd actually just be diving even harder. Like, he still doesn't have his timing item, right? And they're still this far ahead in this lane. And 4,000 gold, 8 minutes in.
Dude, it's an Abaddon. Like, once you get the level 3 shield, you're going to keep running at people anyway. Like, there's no reason why you can't just hold that top, like, why you can't just dive the top tower, apart from this reason. The fact that Freeze now rotates up towards the top lane. This is instantly for a DK just to have Dragon Form push the mid lane as hard as he possibly can. And Sylar, I swear, they're just trying to find a space for Sylar to find farm, but that's a haste-ruined Mushi coming up through the south, combining with Ninjabuki. DDC, you can throw your paralyzing cast all you want to. Mushi's got the movement speed, he's got the rage save. Okay, he doesn't have the numbers, however. 4 heroes from VGj come in defense. The Maledict pop, Ninjabuki, that last tick, it won't be enough to kill him. 35 HP, he will survive, but Ice has now come to the mid lane. They are not letting Sylar have any room to breathe. This is asphyxiation strat.
And Gyro's the hero that'll actually take VGj through the mid into the late game. So if they continue to shut him down, like, it's all Timbersaw. And he doesn't have, like, you can't rely on a Timbersaw for damage output because they'll just play away from him.
Well, Timber's now up on the top lane trying to have a crack at Jabs. Jabs has to be shielded up. This may be just worth, yeah, straight TP away. Doesn't want to be involved against Freeze. You know Abaddon can tank it if you need to. Actually, yeah, he does have that stored skill point, so you can get the borrowed time up and running.
Yeah. It's nice. Abaddon Shield actually removes the Whirling Depth debuff, so you get your stats back.
Bottom lane, Yang. Magic Missile, Mushi and Jabs. Everyone working together to kill off Omni Knights. Give them a procession of trees. Oh, how long can Ice? Yeah, okay. Freeze has finally managed to break the borrowed time. But it's only a minute cooldown.
Yep. It's annoying, though, because Abaddon really wants to be hitting a tower right now. He's super strong with this HOD, but somebody has to deal with Timbersaw.
But you have DK as well as, yeah, both the mid and the bottom lane of VGj is the tower is under attack. So Freeze, yeah, if he wants to stay up here, Ice will stick with him. The DK uses Dragon Form to attack mid. They're going to try and get a counter initiation on this as Fade, rolling ball, snowballs fall forward. They got help. Freeze actually rotates in. Chakram is down, and Moon will die. So VGj get the kill, but they're losing their tier 1 tower on bottom lane for it.
It's a really good TP, though, because he can get back top really quickly. He'd already shoved the lane, so Abaddon couldn't pressure tower in the meantime. But Mineski is 6,000 gold ahead at 10 minutes into the game, which is about the lead I thought they might need to make this their favor. Yeah, but just to reiterate, like, they need this big of a lead to even have a chance in this game. And I'd still say it's close to 50-50.
And that's you really make it sound like Mineski have crippled themselves in the draft. Ice again gonna have that borrowed time trigger. Not exactly what he wanted to have it happen though. Open wounds down on the bot lane. This Omni Knight. At least he can repel and start the run. No, Sprout. Mushi's caught inside of it. I say caught. He still had the Quelling Blade available, but this was not meant for you, Captain Jack Sparrow's bullet.
It's just because Mineski's supposed to crush the lanes, right? And they have Furion to continue to pressure early objectives, but their draft does fall off if they let the Gyro Timber get to a point where they just can't take them down anymore.
I like this aggressive posturing from Mushi. He understands that longer cooldown time on Repel. It's making it difficult for Yang just to stand his ground. But this tier 2 tower is just taking damage from the Treants, the Catapult. Jabs is waiting for a good position to TP in to rotate as well. As Freeze tanks between the top tower. This has to be so desirable, but you got a creep wave and a half that was just pulled by this dominated set of Mind Stealer. So Ice will quite happily farm this as the tier 2 tower in the bottom did fall.
Yep. Doing a good job just delaying this Timbersaw's push while his team makes space bottom. Or, well, not even makes space, uses the space and kills the tier 2. And this is why Mushi needs to go this Armor of the build at least first. He might go back for Radiance, but you can see where if he's just farming a Radiance, they can't make plays like this. Now he's TPing inside of Furion, they might make a play on Timber.
Kind of forgot the delivery system. The ping came towards mid instead. That was Mushi's ping too. They want to kill Sylar, but they go top lane instead, up towards Freeze. Freeze has already had a little bit east, so Jabs too early on his TP. Mushi understands it, pops out, is going to take the tier 1 tower.
The downside of Thunder's draft is they don't actually have tower pressure of their own, so that bottom lane is so pressured that even though they don't get the kill, it doesn't matter because now they just deliver everyone up top and they can shove here instead.
Freeze is trying to slow the push down, but he knows he can't fight it. There's too many heroes up there. Ice is already TPing towards the mid. Snowball, protection. Ninja Buki was the one that was started on, but Sylar, the attack up the hill, are connected. The corrosive skip breath is slowly ticking him down to 28. Is there another TP for this Prophet? Not for a bit. But they've already killed off Tusker onto the Tier 1 tower using Moon's Dragon Form to take this remaining Tier 1 tower of VG Gaming's. DDC, that's a confident position for himself. Inside the trees, throws out the paralyzing cask. Doesn't find the hero he wants. In fact, it's Mushi who finds Sylar. Clive stealing a little bit, but he actually doesn't have infestation. So careful as they retreat back out. The Breathe Fire will connect on 4. So VGJ, with all of the damage being reduced and the shards not connecting, they do not get what they want, which is the trade in mid. They have to deal with the lame split push instead.
I really like Jab's choice here. He's actually going to rush a Spirit Vessel, which is like the Timbersaw counter. You remove nearly all the regen from his reactive armor, and then you're actually able to click him down like a DK stun, Avenge stun, etc. So I might have been a little... when I said it was 50-50, a little ambitious. Yeah, it's looking pretty solid for Mineski, but it's more about how many mistakes can they make and secure the game. And right now that number is still very low. But if they keep tempo up, keep playing well, get a Roche pretty soon, they're going to be in a good spot.
With the start from Jabs, I give him a lot more to work with. Like, I remember seeing what Misery was able to do with the 4 position Nature's Prophet. What time was that? I think it was like 2-3 weeks ago. But it's this split push pressure that can come from just your 4 position. It's a hero you don't care if he dies either. VGJ will always be looking behind themselves. They can counter push a little bit. Timbersaw's quite good at clearing off waves, but until he gets BTs up, until he gets a lot of items, you're still then playing reactionary Dota, which will then allow BKBs to arrive for the Dragon Knight. He's actually going to go for a Shadowblade Silver Edge of his own. So the itemization of Mineski appears to be the strongest thing they've got, and they keep fighting the farm. They keep having this map control because they're able to remove the Tier 1 towers. Like right now, they haven't lost a single Tier 1 tower of their own, and the lowest Tier 1 tower is that top tower at 758 HP of its 1600. So map control is brilliant for them. They're even de-warding out VGJ with Ninja Boogie. Man, this is live for this. May, I actually should emphasize the word may. They're coming in a lot deeper, swaps down the hill away from Freeze, the call down. It doesn't even connect on the first one. So we Wave of Terror's on 2, now it's Fade in way too deep. Moon does his TP over. They need an extra stun as Freeze runs away. Doesn't have a lot of reactive armor charges. That's why he's taking so much damage. Underneath the tower, he started with 2. So with this, Mineski, not only do they get VS to D-Ward, escape, bait VGJ into a fight, but they take 2 kills and now Roshan.
Yeah, VGJ obviously feels a little pressured. They dive at Tier 1 for Avenge. Really well played by Ninja Boogie, though. Great swap. Baits him into a really poor position. And as you said, like, Timber just has no armor, and then he gets Spirit Vesseled, and it's like, oh, crap. And he takes a stun to the face, and he's dead soon after. And the itemization from Mineski is great here, where the Abaddon's going to go Helm of the Dominator phase into Radiance. The DK is going Shadowblade after Drums, and Lifestealer's just continuing to accelerate. I like this style. Armlet into items that then just cost 2,000. Roll the Vibe down bottom, and he's gone.
Whew. Couple of hits. Jazz will be the one to claim him.
You have Sanjin Yastra finished soon. He has the Aegis, and if I'm Mineski, I think you can look to finish this game pretty soon.
They have a lot of power to push high ground. Obviously, this Aegis is normally used to clean up the Tier 2 towers, so that's probably going to be it. You're still looking at about a 10-minute window before Mineski will look to go high ground. But everything, if it keeps going their way like this... Oh, hello. Fade. Haste Rune. Oh, he's trapped. He can't cut out. Moon can cut in, however. And they have the stuns and they have the controls, so all the movement speed, but nowhere to run. It's like a dog in suburbia.
No. Mineski's playing this draft near flawlessly. They understood their win condition, and they're pressuring all of the lanes at once. Once they get them in a good spot, they look to group up and kill another tower.
And is this actually the confidence too, when Ice knows he doesn't have to get Crimson, he doesn't have to get anything else, like going for the Radiance instead. Because they don't need the ability to tank because there's no damage. Gyrocopter does nothing. They focused him so hard early on that he's a non-factor. And it's kind of feeling the same for Freeze.
Yep. It's just really nice. Whenever you have 3 cores in your lineup, and really 4, because Jabs, I mean, Jazz is 4th place in the net worth right now.
Yep.
whenever you're all able to scale, it's just so good in this meta because you don't have any risk. You can just kind of play this high-tempo game, but you're also confident, like, hey, we don't need to force anything. You're just slowly gaining more and more of a lead, much like somebody saving for retirement. Or in this case, a win in a game of Dota 2.
Well, let's just not have that timeshare.
Yeah.
Don't invest poorly.
Yeah, I mean, that's something a lot of Dota teams do, unfortunately, where they buy items that aren't really for a purpose. It would be, as you said, like if Abaddon goes for like some Pipe Crimson, then they try to end the game and it fails, all of a sudden he's a non-factor. Once he has this Radiance, he'll just continue to scale. Like they're not in any danger, and as you said, they can just wait for the second Roach. They're going up like 1,000 gold every minute or two in net worth, and
sitting at 15k right now, and it's steady climb. The experience graph's actually climbing a little bit faster than that because VGJ understand they cannot take fights, so they're holding each other's hands so much wherever they're walking. Like, how do you take it? You don't know where that lifesteal is going to move. He could be inside the Prophet. He could be anywhere. It's not like the old Prophet where you could only TP where you'd scouted.
Was that really a thing? I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was a thing.
It was before my time.
Okay, that was back when you were a HO word we don't say player.
The Visions game has been really good too. This ward over here in the dire tier 2, tier 3 area has been up for quite some time, and it's just so nice to play with when you're this far ahead, and it never ever gets countered.
There's no way for VGJ also to understand they planted that. And you've got the defensive, you actually can even smoke on top of it. Like, okay,
It's just being annoying.
It's just the small Centaur Conqueror who's out there. At least they'll get the kill. But everyone being grouped up in this position. And now trees come in too. Snowball forward, observe the sentry. They saw Moon locked inside the shards. He doesn't have a long survivability until Ninja Boogie swaps him out, takes it for the team. They put the Spirit Vessel onto the Witch Doctor, and now an infested Granite Golem on the way into the fight. Jabs dodging the attack. The initial one, Lifesteal, is it soon time to... Okay, he's going for DDC. He's looking to mop up the back lines, while Yang running out. Omnight gets the GA off, so protection for him as well as one other player. But no, there's no tree. He couldn't latch onto it. Freeze is locked where he is. DDC's brought back to allow the paralyzing casters to stall up Mineski's run. But Mushi back into the fight. Rage comes off cooldown to breathe fire. Yang wanted to help, but all he got it was to the face. 3 heroes lost. There's a dieback for 1. Open wounds off cooldown in 1 second time. They can slow down phase. Well, actually, with just the Dragon Tail, that'll do the work. Mushi has himself a triple kill. And I thought it was Vengeful Spirit who was meant to be the full sacrifice in that. He bought back so quick and got into the fight once more.
Yeah, and once again, the side lanes are still pushed, so they can immediately go for the tier 3 bottom.
Freeze, open wounds. Mushi, whew, careful of that armlet toggle time. Silas putting homing missiles down to try and slow this too. Ninja Boogie, he's got swap available at level 1. So all he wants to do is try and close the range on somebody. But they got the tier 3 tower 20 minutes in. So Mineski could be very happy with this. Wait for next Roshan. Finish the job.
Yep. I didn't wait fully for Roche. You don't ever want to take this game deciding team fight in the enemy base. You can just chill, kill a shrine, get more items, spend your gold, and just relax because you're as you said, you're just not in a rush.
Yep.
Mineski played this game perfectly. Like, I put my money on VGJ, but the moment they're this far ahead at 10 minutes, they understood that's what they had to do, and they just crushed through the game.
See, this is the Jack contagion. I am immune. The only person on this mainstream that said Mineski had this. But yeah, the laning phase did go insanely well for them. And it did feel weird, like with VGJ's rotation. It feels like that PA rotation towards the top. But you can understand the logic behind it for VGJ, right? Like they were trying to get Sylar to be a hero.
Yeah.
And they tried 3 different lanes in the span of like 3 minutes. And all 3 failed terribly for him because he got killed the second he arrived.
That's the danger of Gyrocopter right now. He's kind of figured out, and when you pick him in the first 2, all of a sudden you're playing up against 3 cores you really don't have any favorable matchups against. And there's nowhere for you to go.
Right. Mushi now has a Basher. He's got Armlet SMY Basher for a 21-minute lifestealer. Number 1 on the net worth. BKB as well as Shadow Blade for the Dragon Knight. It won't be too long before you're going to see that silver edge on him. And that's just a posturing in the mid. You've got the Dragon form, which lasts for so damn long, and this Black Dragon who was being controlled by Lifesteal. You know, this feels like when they used to run this as like support, like when Kuro was running the Black Dragon. I would say he's running a life stealer, but he was only ever in the Black Dragon.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, that kind of came back in a way, this silly Radiance build everybody seems to go, but I really like this style of life stealer. All the items he purchased for like 2,000 gold, lots of easy build up, and it allows you to maintain like a really even acceleration with a lot of power spikes.
Yep.
There's no like 10 minutes of, oh, I'm really close to this item, guys, don't fight.
I was wondering just what type of item ITS would go after his Radiance. He's coming for an Aghanim second build. A little bit of fun for him. Where's this swap? Ninja Boogie. There it is. Yang, welcome back. Stunned up. No time for a repel. Ninja Boogie will kill Secure with the magic missile. And then they move towards Sylar. He stuck around for half a second. Too long, and he knew it. That's why the drum charge gets popped. But Mineski are coming in for the bottom lane of Rax. No buyback on the Omni Knight. Timber will TP to the front lines. At least there's no swap to pull them into the fight. Not just yet. Another 22 seconds for that one. But they don't really have a way to kill off Mineski. They're just beating the crap out of the Rax. Even with that Dragon Form, Mineski is so confident to do this because Mushi is such a beast. They wave of Terror. Freeze will go down. It doesn't really matter what VGj does. They cannot stop Mineski. And Mineski, I don't think will leave. They're going to pinch a flag. They're going to take over all the Chinese real estate.
I think this might be a GG pretty soon. Like they 23,000 gold up, 23 minutes. You can't really ask for a better game execution from Mineski.
Yep.
And they're playing with so much confidence. I think those wins earlier in this tournament, just the patch seems to have just, as Winter said, like resuscitated them. And all of a sudden they look like a totally different team from what they've appeared to be the last couple of weeks playing qualifiers.
Maybe a little bit too far out. They dove pretty deep to kill off DDC. That's a big streak to be ended. And Mineski trapped kind of in a choke point. Sylar, Link's able to do a little bit more damage, but Moon had Dragon just so intimidating. Gets a Dragon Tail stun over on Fate on the side, so he'll kill him off, while Ice kept everyone else at bay. Freeze, chain up, but stuns, control. This is good game, well played.
Yep.
Mineski, it took just under 25 minutes for them to claim this victory over VGj, and that, as far as scores go, actually has them with only one defeat. They go 5-1, taking second place until we see the result from EG later.
I mean, they know one thing, which is if they beat EG tomorrow,
that's second. Actually, if they lose to EG tomorrow, then potentially we have a tiebreaker. Actually, I'm hoping Paul can answer that one on the panel later on if we have head-to-heads or not, or if it is an actual game that gets played for the second position. But that will be very interesting.
yeah, hopefully we find out in a second.
Yeah. Well, hey, Paul, we're asked the question right now. I believe you're ready for us.
I can tell you right now, indeed, it will be a playoff match. There is no head-to-head, so it's straight playoff. So let me think about this now. EG are currently 4-1, but they play IG later today. In fact, the last game of the day, which will be coming out very shortly. They would then go 5-1, and therefore whoever won out of those tomorrow would automatically go into the playoffs. If, however, EG lose today and they're 4-2 tomorrow, then they need to beat Mineski and they would finish 5-2, and that would be the same as Mineski, and then they'd have to replay again for a place in the playoffs. God help us tomorrow. Seriously, maths and I need Knoxville in my brain, tapped in, plugged in. Anyway, more of that later on. Let's get some views from our panel on a very straightforward victory for Mineski, who go 5-1 now, Cap.
Yes.
5-1, like no one would have had them going 5-1 at this point in the tournament. Not even Winter would have them going 5-1.
Looking at this group, I'm not sure who I would really place above them.
Secret?
Yes.
EG?
Potentially EG. Potentially. I think
Potentially. VGj.Thunder, who've played in 2 grand finals in the last month?
No. I was never a VGj.Thunder believer.
What?
No.
You're going to be telling me you
missed me with that one,
you'd
Paul.
have thought Mineski would finish above Invictus Gaming next. I nearly trolled you.
Well, unlike my friend Jack here, I didn't quite believe in VGj.Thunder
No,
overall.
you didn't.
But I did believe in this game. I thought their draft was solid.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to
Someone
be
went
enough
wrong.
Timbersaw. I mean, they just got outplayed. They just literally got rolled by Mineski. There was like so many different, like Ninja Boogie had fantastic Vengeful Spirit performance. Jabs was a great Furin. I think the 2 supports really made a lot of this game for Mineski. And then on top of that, VGj.Thunder just kind of struggled.
I was wrong. You were wrong. You were wrong. But The thing is, Mineski actually managed to keep the pressure. They won the lanes. I was a little bit skeptical about the Lifestealer, but the itemization was good on side of Mineski. He made Armlet, DK made drums, you had Furion with this. That was quite fast. Spirit Vessel, no boots, which pretty much shut down Timbersaw, which was the greatest damage dealer on the side of VGj.Thunder. Also, how game was played early on, support had to focus on the top, so there was no stacks for Sylar. That we can see in his items that he was not able to actually deal any kind of damage.
Yeah, it felt like the Lifestealer really could have been a lot of heroes as long as they 1v1s against the Omni Knight, right? And then that frees up the supports to be able to go aggro. They did very well in their aggro tri-lane when they were running that. They also pressured mid quite a bit. Just felt like when the Gyrocopter and the Timbersaw can't get off the ground, they don't have a strong laning phase, it's hard for an Omni Knight who's left in a 1v1 that he doesn't necessarily win. It's hard for an Omni Knight to be able to carry through in that part of the game, right? There are other offlane heroes that could probably give you enough team fight to be able to do so, that probably carry by themselves a little bit better, but Omni Knight is really supposed to be enabling some of these other heroes, and those heroes just didn't really have a bunch of farm.
Let's hear from VGj Jack, because we haven't heard anything from
The
VGj.
disappointed uncle.
I would say so. Mineski coming into today, like they've played some of the weaker teams. What about the stronger ones? Are they going to be able to pass that test? I think that's been pretty clear that they went from a dark horse that people were really uncertain about coming into this tournament to being a pretty strong team. This is probably one of the cleaner games that we've seen of the day from start to finish. They dominated the lanes and they didn't give Thunder really too much space to come back into the game. So I think that question has been answered about them. For Thunder, I mean, some of the struggles continue. I wouldn't say that so much it was the draft for these last few games that they've played. I just think that they have been outplayed in both games. And it's something that we saw before against VP, against EG, but perhaps more surprising against some of the opponents that they've had in this group stage. So they've got to find something quick if they want to become a contender in this tournament.
They certainly have. Scoreboard showing you how one-sided this particular match was, as Jack just said. One of the more one-sided games we've had in the whole tournament so far. In fact, 21-5 on kills and a long way ahead in pretty much every department.
Feels like VGj.Thunder, we're still seeing a lot of the same from them, except for the fact that they are just giving us these slight twists when it comes to their freeze hero. Like, they have one core that is going to be something that we haven't seen yet. I don't think we've seen a whole lot of Timbersaw from them before, the Leshrac pick that they had earlier, right? But overall, it still feels like the team style is still the same.
They're stuck at 2 and 4, and in the other group, they would be at risk of not making the playoffs. Luckily for them, they've got Pain and Effect in this team, in this group, and they're both 0 and 6. Neither of those can catch them, so that's one saving grace. Because otherwise, they wouldn't have made it out of this group on this kind of form. They're at 2 and 4, the same as effectively IG, because they're 2 and 3 right now, but they have to play EG in the final game of today. They can't finish any higher than 5th or 6th, so they're going to get one of the other 3rd, 4th place teams in Group A, which potentially could be a really hard match, couldn't it, in the playoffs?
Especially since that other group is so top-heavy. Yeah,
it could be a tough one. Okay, MVP for this one. Do you want to pick someone out?
I'll say Ice. He really dominated the lane from the start. The way, I don't know if you saw it, he actually had a really good timing on that Helm of the Dominator, and Timbersaw was creep skipping, so he took the creep and pulled 2 creep waves onto his shrine and killed them there.
Another MVP for Triple Ice. He's had a decent tournament, hasn't he?
As expected for Mineski in general. I feel like a lot of this team is based around Daryl.
But he's played support here, and he's played the offlane, and he's played the Pango. Just no end to his talents.
In general, I think he's just one of those really talented players who's quite versatile and can carry in a lot of ways.
Great to see him playing well as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good. Any of those old school players that you look back on, at least from my perspective, it's like before I was casting, I was watching Ice play. So it's always good to see some of the legends still keep on going while other ones fade away. So.
Indeed. And talking of legends, we've got some coming up right after the break, because IG, last year's winners here at DAC, retained 3 of their legendary players that won that tournament, and they go head-to-head with another bunch of legends, also winners here at DAC in 2015. It's the clash of the DAC champions coming next.
da 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 da.